What if your next phone could save the day when there's no mobile signal? That might be exactly what Samsung's Galaxy Z Flip 7 is planning to offer when it launches in July 2025. The surprise this time isn't just in the fold, it's what's inside. Samsung might finally bring back its own Exynos chip to a flagship phone, and not just any chip. The new Exynos 2500, built on a 3nm process. This chip isn't just smaller and more power efficient, it comes with something unexpected: support for satellite communication. Thanks to a company called Skylo Technologies, we now know that the Exynos 5400 modem inside this chip can connect to satellites using NB-IoT, on basically letting phones talk to low Earth orbit satellites. That means if the Flip 7 gets this chip, it might also get emergency satellite messaging. Imagine being in the middle of nowhere with no bars and still being able to send a message. That's a game changer. Skylo works with big tech players like LG, Techno, and Oppo, and now they're teaming up with Samsung. They've also partnered with Harman Automotive to bring satellite features to cars, so they've got a serious setup. But before you get too excited, there's a catch. Just because the Exynos 2500 can support satellites doesn't mean Samsung will switch that feature on for everyone. It depends on the market, deals, and maybe even government regulations. Now let's talk about performance. Early benchmark scores for the Galaxy Z Flip 7 with this chip show a single-core score of 2012 and a multi-core score of 7563 on Geekbench 6. That's pretty solid, especially when you compare it to last year's Z Flip 6 with the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3, which scored 2251 and 7131 in the same tests. The Exynos 2500 seems to be a little behind in single-core tasks, but ahead in multi-core. And keep in mind, early test units usually score lower than final models, since software isn't fully optimized yet. There's also talk that the Galaxy Z Flip 7 might come into chip version Snapdragon 8 Elite for some markets and Exynos 2500 for others. Meanwhile, the bigger Galaxy Z Fold 7 is expected to stick with Snapdragon everywhere. This might be Samsung's way of testing the waters before fully bringing Exynos back to all their flagship phones. And it's not just about the Flip 7. This could set the stage for the Galaxy S26 series too, possibly with a mix of chips depending on where you live. Some might see this as risky, but if Samsung nails the performance and offers new features like satellite support, it might be worth it. And remember, the Galaxy S25 series already supports satellite messaging, but only through Snapdragon Satellite. So this time, Samsung might be building a backup plan of its own with Skylo. No matter which chip you prefer, Exynos to 5005G or Snapdragon 8 Elite, both are expected to bring solid performance and useful upgrades. But it's that satellite feature that really stands out, especially in a compact foldable phone. Whether Samsung enables it or not, just having that option is a big deal. So if you're thinking of upgrading to a new flip phone this year, the Z Flip 7 might offer more than just cool looks. It could actually make a difference when it matters most. What do you think? Is satellite support in a flip phone something you'd use? Let us know in the comments. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more easy tech updates that keep you ahead of the game. Thanks for watching.
Samsung might be changing things up again, and if you're someone who cares about smartphone performance, this is something you'll want to pay attention to. A new report out of South Korea hints that the upcoming Galaxy S26 series could bring back a decision that users weren't exactly thrilled about in the past, using different processors depending on where you live. Right now, the Galaxy S25 series is praised for one key reason. Every model, in every region, runs on the same powerful Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 for Galaxy processor. That kind of consistency made things simple. No matter where you bought your phone, you knew it had top-tier performance. But that might change with the S26 lineup. The new report suggests that Samsung could go back to splitting its chip strategy, meaning some phones will run on Snapdragon and others on Samsung's own Exynos chip. The Galaxy S26 Ultra will likely continue using Snapdragon across all regions. But the regular Galaxy S26 and S26 Plus might not be as straightforward. If the leak is accurate, the United States, South Korea, China, and Japan would still get the Snapdragon version. Meanwhile, Europe and other global markets could receive the Exynos 2600-powered models. This isn't entirely surprising since Samsung did something similar with the Galaxy S24 series, where the Ultra had Snapdragon everywhere, while the standard models came with Exynos in select countries. That split wasn't very popular. Many users complained that the Exynos versions didn't perform as well. They were often slower, less efficient, and had issues with battery life and heat compared to their Snapdragon counterparts. That's why the Galaxy S25 series was such a welcome change. Finally, everyone got the same performance no matter the region. So if Samsung goes back to a mixed chip setup for the S26, it could leave a lot of people disappointed. Of course, nothing is official yet. Samsung had originally planned to use the Exynos 2500 in the S25 series, but due to production problems, they had to drop that idea. If those issues are now fixed, the company might feel confident enough to bring the Exynos 2600 into next year's phones. But whether or not it matches up to Snapdragon's performance remains to be seen. At the same time, there's another big change happening in Samsung's foldable phone lineup. It looks like we'll be getting two versions of the Galaxy Z Flip 7 this year, a standard model and a more affordable Fan Edition, or FE. Both of these are expected to use Exynos chips, regardless of where they're sold. The FE version will likely run on the Exynos 2400, which was used in some Galaxy S24 models. The regular Flip 7 might be powered by the Exynos 2500, which never made it into the S25 lineup, but could be ready now. For people in markets like the US or China, where Snapdragon chips have always been the norm in premium phones, this could be disappointing. Many users trust Qualcomm's chips because they've consistently delivered faster speeds and better battery life. The idea of not getting a Snapdragon version at all may not sit well with everyone. On the other hand, the Galaxy Z Fold 7 is expected to stick with Snapdragon globally, just like the S25 Ultra. That's good news for anyone looking for a foldable with the best performance possible. The whole situation could end up being pretty confusing for buyers. Most people don't want to compare processors or check region-specific specs. They just want a reliable phone that performs well. And while Samsung's Exynos chips have definitely improved, there's still some hesitation when it comes to trusting them over Snapdragon. If Samsung really does go back to splitting its chips by region, it might create frustration among users who want consistent quality no matter where they are. It's still early, but this is something worth keeping an eye on. If you enjoyed this update, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to our channel for more news on Samsung's upcoming phones and tech updates. It's expected to be lighter but still packed with power. If you're hoping for giant batteries like the 6,000 mAh ones seen in some Android phones, you might be disappointed. Apple doesn't go for huge battery numbers. Instead, it works on improving how the battery works with the phone's other parts. This year, all iPhone 17 models will use stacked battery technology. This type of battery is designed to take up less space, run cooler, and last